Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, the decay of the English public. I can't call it otherwise, or part of the English public, but nevertheless, what happened? Let's make sure that's plugged in. Novak Djokovic, possibly the greatest tennis player of all time. And he is at Wimbledon in England. This is a change of culture in England that I pointed out many times. The society or the culture, the people, the behavior, the norms, the mores, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 100 years ago, and today they're all different. Why? Someone is working hard to make England, or Great Britain, in this case England, because we talk about Wimbledon. They try to make it like everybody else, but they're not like everybody else. They haven't been like everybody else because we are different. So what happened? Novak Djokovic, he went to Wimbledon and he had a game he played against a guy who he beat in 3 sets, bam, straight. And the public booed and tried to destroy Djokovic's concentration without knowing that the Serb said many times, like I say, these things just make me stronger, harder, better. That's exactly what happens with Djokovic. The more you try to put him down, you're going to have a harder opponent. But those guys are just baboons. So what happened? After the game, after he won the interview, he was asked about the public, and Djokovic respectfully said, some thank you very much for acting civilized, and for the other ones, good night. Good night because it's boo, good night. Because that's the way they did. They were supposedly, because you see the mass media is covering for the crowd, they said no, they were just cheering for Rude. That's what his opponent's name is, Holger Rune, and said no, they were just Rune. But Djokovic did not buy that. He said, I have an experience of about almost 30 years, and I don't buy that. I know when a crowd is a bitch. So what's my point here? Besides, he was interviewed by BBC, Djokovic. He was asked 3 questions about this, and he said, do you have any other questions? Are you going to ask me about this? No. And he just walks out, gets up and leaves. The Telegraph says he stormed out of a BBC, God forbid, interview because the bitch interviewer asked everything, 3 questions, and all related to the public. The public. Let's see. I am for freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but we also have norms, don't we? And remember, that's where the culture comes into play. I don't remember something like this, I don't know, from videos that I watched, even though Ilya Anastasia was a clown, and others, or let's say McEnroe and so on, sometimes you would hear a boo, boo, but nowadays these baboons changed. And that's not good for the English society and for us. Remember how tennis started? Well, tennis did not start, okay, let's start this game. No, it started, make an organization and make money. No, they were only the elites, the kings, the nobility that were playing tennis. It was a elevated, intellectual, I don't know, maybe not intellectual, but for the elites, for the nobility. And they had a certain kind of behavior, not like plebeians, like let's say people who would watch football, soccer. Those are over there, the football players should behave in a certain way like football players, and the tennis players, they were required by their standards of tennis imposed that they should wear white only, they should be like this, they don't have that. Oh my God, this guy comes with a long hair. Everyone was like, what the hell is going on? Or the other guy did not match. Oh no white, what's going on? So all these things were obviously laxing the rules. So it became, or they tried to change tennis from a, nobility or elevated game into a baboonish, and they succeed. Why? Because you see people who dance the dance of the creeps, that club. I know, remember Williams? Yeah, one of the sisters. And they changed the code of dress code. They changed this and that. And remember when she was dancing in Wimbledon? Actually, the creeps dance, whatever. I didn't know anything about. I read an article then. I don't know how many years. 20, maybe something like this. 15 when she won. That was her celebration. But Vanessa Williams, the older one, Venus. What is it? Venus, and what's the other one? Venus. That's the bigger one, the one that took all kind of things because she has a mental disorder or something, and then she was allowed to. All right. So what happened here? They laxed the rules. The people in the stands were different. My point here is, I think these guys don't like the Serb because he is not one of them. I'm going to read a few articles for you here. But you know who comes and defends Djokovic? John McEnroe, who I like very much when he slapped Venus and those guys when they asked him if he would apologize. When he said, if, well, they said that Venus Williams, isn't it Venus? What the? Yeah, I mean, it's like just, I want to make sure. Williams sisters. I know, all right. Venus and what's the other guy's name? Guys, Serena, no Venus. Serena is the bigger one. So Serena is the one with Venus. Did not have the mental illness, and therefore she was not allowed to dance around. So that's why she's was not as good as the other one. Just look at her. Remember, there's a coefficient in the body that if you don't, I'm not saying she uses, but you have her list. I made a video on that one. Without the anabolics or substances, your body cannot increase volume. The muscles have a limit. With, let's say, if you eat regular food, your body, as much as you would work, you cannot break a ceiling in your muscles. You can't, as a man, as a woman. I can't remember how much is it. Oh, actually, it's on the telephone. It's called, I don't know, muscular body mass or something like this, MBI or something like this. Therefore, it's about, I don't know, 20%. So if the muscle is like this, you can't go more than 20% over it if you use only food, regular food. Now, if you put anabolics and all that, then you can get to more than that. Get 40, those guys, the monsters in bodybuilding. When you say, I haven't used but only protein, all right. Physiologically, you can, so shut up. So if you look at Serena, my point is she way surpassed that body. I mean, I'm not a small guy, I'm not a big guy at all, but she is much, much bigger than me, much, much bigger than me. All right? And I'm a man. I know. We are not all built the same. And she's just special. Okay, move back. Remember when McEnroe was in an interview with, I don't know, ABC, NBC, and said, well, Serena Williams is the best, he said at that time, the best, he said, woman tennis player in the world. And he said, woman? Why not tennis player? And he said, because if Serena Williams would come into to play in the men's league, she probably would be beaten by the 200, the guy ranked 200. Oh my God, it's offensive. Are you going to apologize? Do you apologize? You apologize? And he said, no, that's true. That's true. And he played, and he gave the examples when someone played. And even Serena Williams played with a guy who played 194. And he beat them both in the same time. I mean, the same time, in the same session. It was a guy who was ranked 190 something, 194 I think, and he played with them, with Serena beat her, I don't know, 6-1, 6-0, something like this, and beat the other one, Venus, again. So he used that example, and everybody did not like the truth. So anyway, let's go back here. So McEnroe is defending, how's it called, Djokovic. No, let me read you these articles here. First article, I'm going to show you how these guys are portraying this garbage. Novak Djokovic has never received Wimbledon love afforded to the rest of the Big Four. The Big Four is like this. It's like, for instance, let's say, tell me what's wrong with this. Well, some very big thinkers are, let me mention a few. Plato, philosophers, let's say, or thinkers. Plato, Aristotle, and let's say Friedrich Nietzsche and Emil Kosman. What's wrong with all this? I don't belong there. Why? I didn't prove. All right, I don't belong there. The other three, you can keep them, but you don't put me in. As, hey, Emil Kosman in the same line with Plato, Aristotle, and Friedrich Nietzsche. No, no. Well, who are the big four? Well, I agree with two of them, but with the third one, definitely not. And that's, sorry, Murray. Murray is Emil Kosman in that enumeration. Federer is one, good. Nadal, good. Murray, no. And then Djokovic. Look at his stats. I don't have to look. Okay, leave me alone. Now, you can say, well, you see over here, you see over here. Remember, if you look at the stats in a certain way, you can have Serena Williams the best, or you have someone else who actually is the best. I made a video on that maybe a year and a half ago and showed who is the best tennis player in the world, who is the GOAT. And I didn't come to the conclusion it was that one. All right. So, you said I should not show my biceps and triceps. Oh, I will try not to. I don't. Hey, to make a point, why don't you do everything? So he didn't receive the love. He never. Why? Because he's not one of the British, Spanish, and Swiss. Oh, Emil, don't say that. Well, I just did. He's a Serb. And I continue to think that a lot of people and the advertisers don't like that a bit. I claim that. And I remember when I was much younger, and it was Gheorghe Hagi, one of the greatest or the greatest Romanian player. I mean, I know Dobrin and Balac and Dembrovski and blah, blah. Okay, I know that, and Dobai, and I know those guys, right? But great, fantastic. And he was very good, very good. And when he moved to Barcelona the first time, then in Real Madrid, but Barcelona, and he worked with the great that I like very much, Johan Cruyff. When he worked with Johan Cruyff, the contract was about $4 million. He was bought for $4 million only then. I think that was in 1994 after the World Cup in the USA. $4 million. And we were all thinking, what the fuck is it? We were all expecting, like others, that they were not as good as Hagi. But his promoter, who I don't like, came and said, well, you have to understand that he's Romanian. And I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, the advertisers will not give him. Imagine that Hagi will be advertised in Germany instead of, let's say, a German player, Matthäus, Adidas. They will not sell shirts with Hagi versus Matthäus. Matthäus was better than Hagi. Well, I just gave you a name, all right? Rummenigge gave my favorite, or whatever. Okay, better than Hagi. Okay, man, you got the point. But you're going to sell, I don't know, let's say Lineker's shirt. Maybe not in Germany, but in another country if it's sponsored by, I don't know, ASICS or something. It's different, you see, it's different. It's about money. It's not about who's the best. It's about the money and who sells the brand. And I paid attention to other people saying the same thing about how things are working. So I think that Djokovic is not really a good selling guy for the West. Yeah, there are some people who don't care about that, but I guarantee you there are some others. So I would say that the big four, which should be big three, all right, and probably big one, but hey, they're all three. They were good. And remember, there was Sampras as well, was Agassi as well, was Lendl again over there. There were many other players. My favorite was, to tell you straight, was Ilie Nastase. Why? Because he knew how to play smart and beautifully. They're strong, they're good, these guys. Obviously, you put Ilie Nastase at his best with, let's say, Murray. Murray will kill Ilie Nastase. No doubt about it. Things evolved. But I like his style, that kind of style. And like this was... Anyway, let's move on. All right, so he's never received the Wimbledon love. But we have here, this is what he did, Djokovic, after he won. Tsini, like I do. He played violin on his racket. He walked towards the very civilized public that, remember, the public over there is an extra. The tennis players are over there to play. You're just over there to look. You're not over there to cheer. You're over there to look. That's how it is. You're not supposed to say, yeah, you can applaud or maybe nothing for a good shot, but you don't try to aggravate someone. You're not a player like in soccer. You don't like a player in the stands. It's a different. You would expect crowd coming over there. Why? Because soccer did not come from the kings and nobility. It came from the, wait. It was a college. That's how we started. It was a college. Well, all right. And the students are very elevated. Yeah. Go and rub shoulders. Well, actually, it was no, because it was in English. Yeah, it was in English, but still, it's different. So, my point is that you have to respect the players in a different way than a soccer player or a basketball player. Or different. But maybe it's only me. So after he was interviewed in front of the crowd and he said, good night. He could have said more than that. Before he had that little interview, he went with a racket towards those guys and he challenged them with a little violin like I played. Remember Paganini? I haven't used that for a long time, but nevertheless, I will use it again because I like it. So here you have Djokovic walking towards those guys. Next article coming from CNN, and I'm quoting, "You guys can't touch me. Can't touch me." What was that? MC Hammer. So you can't touch me. Yeah, that's what he said in an interview after he won. Novak Djokovic accused Wimbledon crowd of disrespect after reaching quarterfinals. Yes, they were disrespectful. I mean, don't be a stupid, all right? Don't be stupid here. The Serb took just over 2 hours to beat Holger Rune 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 on center court, but were irked by sections of the crowd who were rooting for his Danish opponent. Why? So they were rooting, they switched. No, they were not booing him. He's just sick in his mind. If they were just, he took it as Rune, as ooh, boo, but actually it was not that. You see, Djokovic is an imbecile, and the crowd and these guys shape what happened because they know what happened. My friends, and just watch that. I can't play it here with, I don't have the ability to go on my usual OBS and so on to cut into and show you. But you go and see it, it's on YouTube. And it says, to the fans, this is what he said. Oh, this is what he said. This is what CNN, I think it's CNN, or they took it from, yeah, they took it from CNN. She said, throughout the match, spectators could be heard shouting, Rune, in support of the world number 15, a chant which sounds similar to booing. Remember, let's go Brandon. They were not saying, let's go Brandon. That's what she said they were saying. But they would say, Joe Biden. And this guy, they say, let's go Brandon. They're saying, this is exactly what these guys are telling us. No. There were no boos. There were Rune. The Danish public, right? In England. Please, my friends. Impossible? No. And even if there are, and this is what Djokovic says, to all the fans that have respect and have stayed here tonight, thank you very much for the bottom of my heart. I appreciate it. And to all those people who have chosen to disrespect a player, in this case me, have a good night. Now it was very nice because it could have been a little bit different than that. So the problem is with this. If Djokovic wins another Grand Slam, in this case Wimbledon, he's gonna go even further higher than the pack, the big four, all right? And not only. So he's gonna go, not only that the Wimbledon is gonna slash all the fucking records over there, I think he already did, but nevertheless, he's gonna do overall with the Grand Slams. Nobody can say it was a, I don't know, Swiss guy or an English guy or an American guy. No, the GOAT is the Serb. Who's gonna watch tennis? The Serbs and me. All right, my friends, be careful. So he's just confused. Right here, at the 2021 US Open, the same situation occurred when Djokovic was confused by what he thought was booing from the crowd. Remember when he beat in Flushing Meadows, Djokovic beat Andy, not Murray, Andy, what was the guy's name? He was an American, Roddick serving very, very tough, but that was it. Roddick, and then he talked to the public the same thing because Roddick told everybody that, hey, he's just faking injuries. That's what Roddick said. Andy Roddick, yeah, he just fakes. And then when he beat him, he said, I know how you guys don't like me, but I'm gonna say it. Blah, 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 blah. And everybody was boo, 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 boo. But it's America, right? It's not England, and the English crowd should be. But hey, you got Sunak, now he's gone. You got what's his name, the Rusi, whatever he's the mayor of London. London has half of its population born outside, so you fuck your country. Good job. Anyway, next one. Legend Novak Djokovic to face another potential hostile Wimbledon crowd. Uncivilized? Correct. Correct. You stay over there in the stands, applaud, or keep your mouth shut. No, Amy likes freedom of speech. I do like freedom of speech. But imagine that you go in a lecture and you have a teacher over there, or in a debate, and you start heckling. What do you think will happen? They pick you up and fuck you up. They get you out of the venue. No? Well, let's say you have a classical music, right? You have Pavarotti, who's dead, and everybody over there, the whole orchestra, and you start after the performance, boo, fuck, what do you think will happen? Or even during the pause, they will kick you out. Why? A certain kind of behavior is needed. Why? Of the level of what's going on over there. So anyway, so he is potentially he's 37-year-old. All right. His most hostile All England club. They're afraid he's going to be breaking off the pack. He's going to be so far away that these guys cannot say, yeah. But you see, Andy Murray did this then, and yeah, actually, Nadal did this, and Federer. You know who was the most honest guy in all these three guys? Andy Murray. Andy Murray is Emil Kosman among those guys. Remember, was the Spaniard. Yeah, Nadal. I used to like Nadal very much. He was very athletic and very nice on in Laurent Garros in France. Very, very good. So he was the only one who really agreed that, look at him, I can't do anything about this guy. That's what, I mean, anyway, Federer was always, I'm the greatest, but the stats don't add up. And Andy Murray is used, his name should not be named with these guys. That's me. You hurt me now, and I'm gonna say it. The same as these guys say, I know England is finally in the semi-final. Good job in football, Euro 2024. But always when England participates in a World Cup or in a European Championships or so on, he's always the favorite, regardless. Why? But can you see our teams? Your teams are not formed of English people mostly. They're not. I watch English Premier League. Arsenal, Manchester United, Manchester City, and who's the other? Chelsea. Look at those guys. Who are those guys? And then they wonder, why do we flop as a national team? Because your guys are playing with good guys. You're good guys too. But it seems like something else. Not as good as these guys. Oh, we're the favorite. Well, we'll see if you deserve. And remember, in 1966, was that a goal? You won one World Cup with a goal against Germany in the final. There was not a goal. How would you like that? I mean, it was like this far away from being a goal. Do you like that? What did you guys do to Eusebio when he played in 1966 over there? All right? So don't give me that one. Don't give me, what about Romania? Fuck them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about you. Romania is not always favored, but you guys are always favored. How come? This is the reaction, not only mine, because I'm just woke up without a hard-on or something. No, talk to people that are not English, and you're going to find out, why are these guys again? Anyway, move on. So the same here, Andy Murray. So my friends, as I said, let me see, where is that? I knew I have another shot with, what's his name? McEnroe, John McEnroe. Can I get a picture of that? Because take a picture of the, right here. BBC News, McEnroe defends Darth Vader Djokovic. Right there. Right. McEnroe praised Novak Djokovic for criticizing the Wimbledon crowd, saying the Serb had been disrespected in his career at least 100 times. The tennis legend said Djokovic's ability to deal with the quote-unquote worst hit is why he has become the greatest player of all time. Now, what are you going to do to McEnroe? Again. But McEnroe is one of those guys who's kind of crazy, that he as crazy as to call the emperor has no clothes. And he's crazy enough to say that we need people like him. And he's got the money, and he's got the connections. Otherwise, people would not feature him. But he's a commentator, and people invite him. How do you get rid of a how do you call it, noisy fly. You don't invite it in your, keep your doors locked. Don't keep him, you're not gonna hear the fly or the mosquito. The same here. Don't pay attention. Don't invite me or McEnroe to speak anymore. And you're never gonna hear from me or about me ever, or McEnroe. But they don't do that. Why? It seems like he's got some connections somewhere. All right, my friends. I can go on and on. Good job, Djokovic. Keep being who you are and what you are. I think you are, and that's the record shows that you're the greatest player, tennis player of all time, not male, of all time. Because even if he plays without a leg and one hand, he's still gonna beat a, you know what I mean. So, yeah, it's gonna be a disrespectful crowd, but that only shows us of the decay of the Western public, civilization, culture, and that's not done by us. It's been done to us by guys that are amongst us. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.